Hi, everybody. I'm Juliet, and I'm so excited for all of you that are watching us live. So maybe you were in LinkedIn, you're in YouTube, or maybe you are joining us from ADP List. My name is Juliet, and let's bring Ali right away in. So
Yay.
yes, we are the co-founders of Cherry on Tech, and we are super excited for the topic of today. I know that we've been talking about this a little bit, but today is all about the questions that you may have. And I think what is so important about today is that maybe some of you are like, "Oh, I don't know if Cherry on Tech program is right for me. Is do I have the time? It is this what I expected, what I will get from it." So today is all about that. We want to make sure that uh, people really get into it because they know that this program is going to help them to grow. A little bit about Cherry on Tech. So Cherry on Tech is a volunteer organization that we look to empower underrepresented genders to get into tech. I think one of the things that is or that people is struggling the most when are changing careers or getting into tech is I don't have hands-on experience. I don't have cross-functional experience. Don't worry. Cherry and Tech is here for that. So we created this program when we help you to create that experience. But before us to keep talking about this, Ali, tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Hi, I'm Allie. I'm a DevOps engineer at VoiceThread, which is an education technology company. And I've worked in tech for almost 10 years, and I've been a part of Cherry on Tech for about 3 years now. And I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I love to play board games and sports.
Love it. I forgot to make my like everybody should know me already, but my name is Juliet. I'm a senior product designer on the health environment and tech. I've been in UX design for 3 years, and I would say for me, Cherry and Tech was that piece that helped me to start landing interviews, that gave me confidence, that gave me friends forever. But okay, let's start with the question. And for everybody, again, for if you are watching us and you are getting LinkedIn, YouTube, make sure that you're tapping the questions. We can see them here. That's what we want from you today. But while that happened, is do we need to say what is Cherry and Tech again? No, maybe. I know. I have a good question. So we have this thing called a tech squad. So, Ali, what is a tech squad?
A tech squad is it's really just a cross-functional group of people who want to work on projects together to help support each other and advance their careers together. So it's really about kind of having a community outside of the rest of your life that is more about your career and being with people with like-minded interests and getting to actually practice the skills that you need to do in a job that you don't it's really hard to do by yourself. um yeah, that's what I would say, the short version.
The short version. Well,
Yeah.
and I think for me, when I was landing that first job and when I finished my boot camp, a lot of the questions that I was getting from recruiters, organization, companies, like, who do you work with? Yeah, it's like, yeah, I did this design, I did this as case
Yeah.
study at school, but who do you work with? So usually, would you find in a tech squad?
We have had on our tech squad, we've had back-end engineers, front-end engineers, marketing, social media managers. We've had definitely designers, and product managers. That's what I do on our squad, even though that's not what I do in my professional career, because that's just something I'm interested in. Um, yeah, I think that covers most of it, but it's not like strict, I guess. The idea is just to be able to support people in the kind of interests that they have. And we try to have like the core elements of what you'd find in most software teams so that we can deliver real software projects.
Ooh, I love that, real software projects. But before we jump that, there is like, I know that for our tech squad, we call it the OG. We have a mix of like so many different roles. But what about the program? Like, exactly, if I would like to join next cohort, registrations are open, and we our first day is September 9. But if I'm thinking, oh, I want to join a tech squad, what I will find in the program?
Yeah, so basically me and Juliet and a few other people been a tech squad for a few years. And so we created this program to support new squads, basically help people connect with each other, because that can be a challenge. It's just like, okay, I want to work with other people. Where do I find them? So we do that. We get some squads together in what we call the cohort program, and we just provide a bit of guidance in how do you complete a project from idea and problem space, like all the way to launch and having a live website, and an MVP for a product. And we also offer mentoring within that program. So we did some research for kind of what were the biggest things people were looking for, specifically people new to tech, who, what's stopping them from getting their first job. And what a lot of people were looking for is things like hands-on experience and mentoring. So those are the kinds of things we try to offer. And we had our first cohort in January, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. We did all
it was
those
a lot
things.
of fun. Yes. If you ask us, I think yesterday we were talking exactly about that. If you ask us last, I feel like November or December, about cohort 1, we were not feeling these positive and energetic because there was a lot of going on, but we were learning on the process. Okay. So we were talking about different roles. So we are talking about UX design. We are talking about product managers. We are talking about developers. Maybe we can talk a little more specific about the roles. So UX design, I mean, maybe I can talk a little bit about that, as I'm a UX designer. So I feel like as a UX designer, one of the things, again, I mentioned this already, that we're struggling the most is like, how do we convey that we can do the work? Yes, I feel like as a developers, it's a little more like, can you code this page? Can you paste all of this? Boom, magic, I got it. But for us as a designer, it's a little more like not that tangible. So for us, it's really important to have that cross collaboration. But as a UX designer, if you will be in the role, you will be doing like an end-to-end process. So you will do discovery work, you will do a little bit of research, you will be getting together with the PM and the developers and think about what could be in the MVP based on the discovery. Then you will do like a little design library. Then you will create like a lo-fi fidelity design. You will use this for your usability testing. Then we'll put them at the mid fidelity and then to high fidelity. But in between all of this is the cool part, that I'm going to be giving these to the developers, and the product manager is going to give us feedback. The developers is going to give us feedback. So it's not that I just, okay, I'm done, bye-bye, see you later. No, there is a lot of collaboration between the sprints. What is a product manager going to do? Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think for product managers, it's a really cool opportunity because there's a lot of things that, like responsibilities that a product manager will do professionally that involve like facilitating a team. And it's really hard to do that by yourself and to be able to show you have experience doing that. So I think it's a great opportunity. So we definitely get the product manager involved in like early stage of defining like what is the product. And I think really going deep in like what is an MVP and how are we actually building something that's going to like let us test the value of this idea that we have, and just like getting a chance to go really deep in that and then be able to actually see it get built. So then the product managers will transition into more of like the delivery manager type of tasks that they can sometimes do, or they're like involved in the actual like agile software team. So you get deeply familiar with that. and expect you to be like learning how to write user stories and how to use Jira or like any, some kind of project management tool, and really like getting to see how do you communicate with devs and designers and like help move work along to really like accomplish something together, which was really cool to see, especially over the course of 4 sprints, which we do 2-week sprints in the program. So you really get a feel for that like cycle of, kind of going from we have this idea for a feature, getting to see how it's going and getting to probably find some bugs or find somewhere that, you'll learn that a bug isn't just like the feature's not working how you said it should. It's like you actually didn't really think about how it was supposed to work in this case at all. So get familiar with like testing a product and understanding what your role is in that process of software development. I think that's really valuable. And then there's, a lot of like actual deliverable things you can put into your portfolio that you can create during this time, like product roadmaps, go-to-market strategies, product one-pagers. So yeah, lots of stuff. There's more.
A lot of stuff, yes. But
Yeah.
you know what is like with a lot of product managers that I have talked to that they are not in tech, I feel like they are looking for this tech experience. So I think this is for a great opportunity for those product managers like, I want to get in tech, but I need something tangible. This is a great opportunity for that because you will be working in a real project. What about developers? I feel like what will be the expectations of a developer?
Yeah, for the devs, I think it's, what we're doing this cohort is we've sort of decided the tech stack ahead of time, and we are changing that from what we did last cohort because we think it'll be a bit more valuable for people's time. So you'll get to kind of work on some of those foundational skills in the beginning and learn how to work with the other devs on your team. And what's really cool is because you're working with this tech squad, you're going to see what the designers are doing and see what the product managers are doing and get familiar with like how you work with those roles and what you're doing in that process, like at the early stage of a project and then towards the end of a project. So then you're going to do all of the like project setup and creating your repository, creating pull request processes for your team. And then the sprints will begin and you'll be able to get that experience of like looking at user stories and collaborating with product managers and designers to understand the requirements and really ask like those deeper questions that when you're working by yourself, you could just get to answer. But if you're following someone else's design, you need to like understand what they meant when they, wrote something down. So a lot of collaboration, and then, obviously time to just develop the features and get to just go through that cycle through the sprints and learn how to use pull requests, which is like a more common process that you'll see a lot of companies using. And so it's like another thing you can either put on a resume or at least gain experience with to have that understanding and then be able to talk about in interviews and say like, yeah, I had this come up when I was, opening a pull request, and I've done pull request reviews and things like that. So getting to just get firsthand experience with all those processes and doing that with other devs too, and seeing how that process is different than when you're just working by yourself. You'll get to go through all the merge conflicts and things like that. Yeah.
I love it. And I feel like, again, my experience when I went to go and work on my first job, and then we were talking about agile ceremonies and stories and points and pull requests. And it's like, yes, I have heard a little bit like at school, and I have heard a little bit like searching, but I think having that experience and not being like, okay, yeah, do I supposed to know what is happening? So I think this is the good thing about the program. We want you to kind of emulate what it will be at work, and this is a safe space too. Like here, it's okay for you not to know. It's okay if you need to ask questions. What about if I have questions? What can I do if I go through a problem during the sprint and no one in my squad knows what to do. What can I do? How Cherry on Tech can help me with this?
Yeah, so we mentioned earlier the mentoring, and we have all volunteers volunteering their time to mentor people. In last cohort, we had amazing mentors, and you would have a mentor for each role on your squad. So if you're a dev, you'll have like a dev mentor for all the devs on your squad, and those are people who have experience in the industry and are there to answer your questions. And you also have what we call a cheering mentor, somebody like an organizer like me or Juliet, who can just, be there and answer any questions you have to, or point you in the right direction if we can't answer your question. But what I like about our community is that it's all virtual, and we have a Slack community, and it's very asynchronous because people are all over the world in different time zones. And so you have, it's not just, you and a few other people. You have the support of the whole community online that you can talk to any hour of the day most of the time. So yeah.
Well, you forgot to mention one of my favorite things is the name is the fairy mentor is the mentors who are embedded on each Tech Squad. I love to tell these when I'm talking to mentors because it's like such a unique thing for us.
Yeah.
But what I love about the working like not all the time together and async is that this is going to happen at work. Like right now, my PM is in Panama. One of the developers is in Hong Kong. The other person is here and there. So how do we get used to that? And I think this is a great opportunity. Like we want to give you that real experience, at least from what it happened for us at work. So this is really good. Another question. So, okay, so you didn't mention exactly how a Tech Squad in the program is built. So how do we build a Tech Squad for the cohort?
Yeah, so we if you think the biggest things when trying to put a Tech Squad together is going to be about like kind of people's schedules and availability. And that's because we really encourage and value Tech Squads having like a weekly meeting. It's not always possible, but we found that it was really helpful for our squad over the years to just have like a super consistent meeting time, just like an hour a week or 30 minutes, whatever it is. And, because it's not just about building this project, it's also about supporting each other. And to do that, you really need to get to know each other. So having that weekly meeting time is really valuable to show up for, the other people on your squad and be there for them. And also like to kind of make that time for yourself and what you're doing to, improve yourself or advance in your career or whatever it is. So we look at schedules as maybe the number one thing, and then the roles and what we do in terms of like the number of people in each role on a squad. This cohort, we're doing 2 designers, 2 PMs, and 3 developers. So that's still quite a bit of people, but that's partially why scheduling can be difficult. But yeah, we kind of make all those stars align.
Oh, let's see. We got a glitch. Ali, are you here? Yes.
Yeah, I'm still here. I think we just lost you. All good.
Perfect.
I just wrapped up anyway.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a couple of questions coming in. So Sean is asking you, and I feel like this, sorry, I cannot show it here because anyway, Sean is asking it from LinkedIn. Hi, Sean. Thank you for joining us today. So hello, this session is really informative. How many people are in your cohort usually? So we can talk about experience in cohort 1. So how many people did we have?
Yeah, last cohort we were able to support 4 squads, and we were doing 6 people on each squad. We were trying just 1 PM, 2 designers, and 3 devs. So that was 24 people, and then in addition to the mentors. But this time we're trying to aim for 5 squads, and it's really just the capacity of the time that we have as volunteers, because this is a volunteer program. But to me, like the ideal is as we grow, we are just creating a more self-sustaining community and can support more and more squads as we go. But we already have I was going to just say we have 2 squads in the community outside of the program right now. So I think as the community grows, the cohorts exist to, kind of form those initial squads, get people that like, how do we exist as a squad together, get the people that experience, and then you can go on to be a squad, for however long you want to. But the idea is that you go beyond the program, and the program's just there to connect you and give you that initial support.
Yeah, I love that about the cohort. It kind of give you that initiation of how to work in a tech squad, how to work in this team. And then after that, after the 3 months that are really intense, we haven't talked about that. After the 3 months, you can relax a little bit and it's a little more organic, and you can talk to the rest of the tech squad. It's like, how are we feeling? What do we want to work on? Do we want to just relax for the next month and just concentrating as a team? Let's talk about our life, what is happening at work. And that's valid. And I think that's so empowering about the tech squad, that it's not just about projects, that yes, this is what unified us in the beginning and in the program, but after and for the whole time, the tech squad is what keep us unified and what keep us stronger, and this can keep changing. Okay, another question from Tracy. Hi, Tracy from LinkedIn. So you both mentioned that the tech squad will be working on a real project. Ooh, okay. So does this mean the squad will be working with a client or a company who needs a certain type of software, or will be the team conceptualize a software product and create it?
Yeah, that's a good question. We definitely didn't clarify that. So what we're doing for the cohorts right now is we are giving the squads problem spaces to pick from, and then they get to have the experience of doing some initial UX research or user research and product research, and then kind of ideate and pick a solution that they think solves a problem for end user that they want to serve. And when we say real website, or a real project, like what I mean when I say that is like it is live on the internet, is like a real website that people can access, and you can make that, as real as you want in terms of like if it's a product that can help people right now. Like for example, in the first cohort, we had a squad make a product called Pitch Pop Out, and their MVP version of that they were able to complete was using one of the older ChatGPT algorithms, I think, and having people basically copy and paste in like a job description into a text box, and then saying like some things about themselves, and then it would generate like a customized summary to put on a resume or like a cover letter that's like more tailored to the specific job description that you pasted in. So that's like something that provides real people real value, and like they're able to complete that in the time frame. So that's not a user that we like had connected them with, but it was a user they identified in their research that they wanted to serve. So I hope that answers your question clearly.
I feel like about this too is, as we are going to be kind of stakeholders in a way too. So there is a lot of interaction. It's not just the tech squad building things, that we are going to come and we are going to ask questions and kind of, again, being as a stakeholders. And I think for me, something that is really important about this part too is, and I feel like we have talked about this between us, but it's like when you go to work, when you land that first job, you enter and there is a problem space already that exists. So how you are able to start working what is present. And again, this is going to give you a bit of practice to work into the next level. But if you ask me about my dream, and I was going to say when we take over the world, is that yes, we're going to have real communities and companies and organizations in the future. That's my big dream, and that's like a North Star. But for now, this is what we have, and I think it's been working really amazingly, instead of like just telling me this is what I did at school, by me and myself, and no one else work, and there is no life. I think for me as a designer to have something that I can send and someone can click and see that is live is such a powerful tool. I have another question here from Amanda, and she is on YouTube. So, what challenge did you experience in the last cohort? How are you adjusting the program this time around besides the pre-building stuff? Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to make some changes to improve the program and want to keep doing so. So I wonder if I can look at my list of changes. Me and Juliet's been talking about it a lot. Let me see if I can find it quickly. I think I mentioned we wanted to add another product manager to each squad. Last time we did one product manager, and we found we got some feedback that the product managers would have liked having another PM to collaborate with a bit more. So we wanted to try that and see how that goes. Increasing the number of squads we're supporting, and we also wanted to be more intentional with the kinds of projects that we're encouraging people to build. And so we decided to try to encourage people to build static websites. We thought it offered a good constraint for an MVP it's kind of like almost a design constraint and also a product design constraint of how do you build a static site that is going to still maybe provide value to a user that you could test. So that's one thing that we're doing a bit differently. And let's see. We are
adding a little more of prep time for the tech squad. I feel like this is a
little more time.
This is a big one for us, not just for the tech squads, but I think for us as the co-founders and program directors is just giving us a little more breathing time and be able to really meet the participants and give them a little more a space to meet with people in the tech squad, have a little virtual party. So a lot of fun stuff coming in that way too.
Yeah. I think another big difference is we're asking people for a bigger time commitment, a slightly bigger time commitment, and that's mainly to improve the experience for the people involved, so that they can have more time to collaborate with each other. So we say it's about 5 to 7 hours per week of work, and then there's a weekly squad meeting and a weekly all squads global meeting that happens. So sort of that mix of independent work time, working with your squad, and collaborating in Slack. Yeah.
Another one, and I think that we're being a little more intentional. It has to do with the fairy mentors, or those mentors that are going to be embedded on the tech squad and that are role specific. We are going to be asking the mentors to be doing a little more of check-ins, 3 check-ins during the cohort during the 3 months. So they're going to be able to see your process, your process, your journey, your growth. I think for all the participants in that first meeting, they're going to be able to say, hey, this is what I want to work on. And doing those 3, the other 2, we can see the progress, but at the same time, they're going to be working every week together. Yes. So I feel how we engage a little more with the mentors and mentees and give them a little more closeness working together. That's a big one too. Okay. While we keep waiting for a question, come on. I see a lot of people in LinkedIn. I see a lot of people in YouTube. Type your questions. But meanwhile, I do have some questions. But okay. So how is the cohort schedule going to work? And maybe let's give people a little bit about the dates. When is all this going to happen?
Yeah, so we have the registration open right now, and it will close officially next Saturday. So there's still a week and a half-ish to apply. And we have filled up quite quickly for designers, but there's still room for developers and product managers. And then we'll take about a week to do the squad matching, and then we'll be following up with everyone who applied via email to let them know, if we were able to match them or not. And then after that, we'll be doing one-on-ones with participants and then getting them into the Slack and start onboarding. And we're going to have a squad reveal meeting amongst ourselves and a welcome party and get the mentors involved. And then September, so onboarding will happen. We'll have like kind of a 2-week onboarding period. And then September 9th will be the first global meeting and kick off week 1, which is Discovery Week, where everyone will really dive deep into their problem space and kind of start ideating and what solutions they might build. And then we have like 2 more weeks of kind of the design and testing phase initially and kind of the defining the MVP, and then the sprints happen after that for the next 8 weeks, and then a final presentation. So it goes by super quick and it's pretty structured week by week with some really kind of like tangible goals, and we provide sort of a breakdown of tasks for each role so people can kind of know what kinds of things that they should be doing at that point in the project and have some guidance of like how to do that and what they what to do basically. Great. Juliet just showed the program page.
Yes, there you go. Yes, I feel like just trying to multitask everywhere. But I feel like what I love about this is not a lot of people get the chance to work in like an end-to-end project, going like from zero and like seeing the baby grow. And honestly, if we ask the participants how was that first month, I think a lot of people is like, oh, I don't think that we can make it. I don't know what we're going to do. Like, I think that first month and a half is really tough for everybody because you're getting used to a tech squad, you're getting used to your like different people on the team. It's a new environment. You are doing something for real. You're communicating. But I feel when this week 13, when they are the final, the presentation, and I tell everybody, it's like I almost cry because it's just so exciting to see. It's like they made it happen. Like all that suffer and stress, it was like real, like something really happened, and now they can talk about it and they can share. So for me, that's one of the most impactful things is like they made it happen, even though at the beginning they didn't believe it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I think part of what kind of people experience, and I know I experienced early in my career, is just like adjusting your expectations. And I always struggled with that early on, thinking that meant I needed to like lower my expectations, but that's definitely not what it means. But adjusting them to understand like how do we accomplish, what can we accomplish in this time frame together? And then there's such a sense of achievement of, if you can adjust your expectations to something achievable and then do that with a group of people, it's really rewarding. I think that's part of what happens, early when you're in the new as a group and just trying to figure out what you can accomplish. So just encourage everyone to keep an open mind and just remember it's a learning experience. It's not like a right or wrong. It's not a good grade or anything. It's like you're doing it to learn. So there's no, like wrong turns. It's like everything you're going to try to do is going to help you get to where you want to go eventually. So it's very safe.
And place. This is exactly what happened at work. We just released something on July 1st, and then we were doing like a case study presentation like 2 days ago. And it's like, we have all these big ideas that we wanted to do, but our time constraints were really strict. Yeah. So we have to, like, oh, let's put this in the backlog. Let's put this in the backlog. So I feel like this is something that happened at work constantly. So it's important for you to adjust for learn from this, and like, it's okay. I mean, I feel like it's just go with the rhythm. You will get it. Okay, a big question, and it's something that we already talked a little bit at the beginning when Amanda asked us a question, is about the static React websites. This is one of the biggest changes that we are doing and being a little more strict. So what it is a static React website?
Well, so Novella's in the chat, and she's kind of our dev mentor, our overarching dev mentor. So I'd love to let her take that one. if she can respond in the chat, I can give her some time.
Yeah, maybe let's give her some time. I know that she is on YouTube. So yeah, Novella, if you can help us to talk a little more about what is a static React website. Meanwhile, what is an MVP and why do we build an MVP?
Yeah, so I feel like you see the term MVP kind of out there a lot in like the startup space. And it's really about just trying to test an idea that you have for a solution that will like solve a user's problem or whatever it is. Like you have some idea and you don't want to spend, months, years, money, effort building the final form you have in your head until you've actually tested it and see if it really does do what you think it does. So some like just it really just fits in with a lot of things you may hear about, just like developing iteratively and just testing early and often. It's really about test your ideas, see if they work the way you think they do. So minimum viable product, it's like I feel like it's in the name, but maybe it's like too obvious. Yeah. So you want to build the smallest thing, the simplest thing, the fastest and easiest thing that you can build that can give you some confirmation that like, yes, I'm going the right direction. And we should keep pursuing this because things just aren't like, most of the time things aren't like they are in our heads. And if you're making something that serves a user, you need to connect with them and you need to like just get as much feedback as you can as early as you can. So just that feedback, something I emphasize a lot in our program with everyone. It's true for product managers, designers, and developers. It's always about doing what you can and getting that feedback as fast as you can to say like, yes, I'm going the right direction. This is working the way, not just the way I think it should, but also the way that helps the user. And then just continuing to pivot.
And here we have the answer from Novella. So in short, a website with no backend thing, no database. And I think, yeah, I don't know if you want to add something to this.
Yeah, I think that's a nice short way to say it.
Yes, thank you, Novella.
So okay. Yeah, I mean, a static website is going to be like, it may be something more informational, but it doesn't mean it's just like totally flat. Like you can still make API calls. You can still accept user input. The things that you maybe aren't doing are, storing that data in a database. So you maybe aren't doing like, you maybe aren't like having user accounts and having login flows. Maybe you're more focused on something that's like a more immediate experience for a user. You're having, something that you're, I wish I had a really good article that Novella wrote that talks a little bit more about like some really creative things that you can do. So it's definitely a constraint, but like a healthy constraint that helps you like really, to me, the goal is to like understand what does it mean for a website to be static and what is a backend and what does it mean to have a backend on your website? Because so many engineers, you just like, go out there and start working and it's like really, you don't really get a chance to stop and understand these fundamental pieces of like big pieces of kind of what you're doing or how software works in general or how the internet works and things like that. So kind of like putting those pieces together, I would say.
Nice. Okay, so another part that is really important and relevant for us is accessibility. And I feel, Novella, like while we talk about this, you can give us like a good accessibility. I don't know what I'm asking for you, Novella, but I feel like you will have something to give us. But something that is really important, that is accessible and that is responsive. What does that mean? What kind of requirements are we asking for people or for a tech squad to do?
Yeah, so I think when Juliet mentioned, like, we're not necessarily acting as product owners, but we are stakeholders in that we are trying to give like healthy constraints and guidelines to the squads. And a couple of those things that we ask for are cross-functional requirements, or you might hear them called non-functional requirements. But those are going to be like things that every feature of your website you're going to be building to meet those requirements. So things like accessibility, where you're going to like make your website be friendly to accessibility tools like a screen reader. You're going to be like checking, I've made a new feature, I'm going to check that I can use a screen reader and keyboard with it, and someone and a user could understand what's happening on the page. You're doing that on every feature. You're not saying, okay, I've made my website work for me, and now I'm going to make it work for other people. So that's kind of the idea, is that cross-functional requirement is like you're building that in as you go. And we also include responsiveness, and that's just because it's like so basic nowadays that pretty much anything you do on the web needs to look good on mobile. So responsiveness, just that idea of resizing, different device sizes and screens, things should look good no matter the device size. So those are the kinds of things that we're asking and encouraging and helping everyone learn how to do throughout the whole program. And we've had some awesome guest speakers about accessibility, and I think we have some more awesome speakers coming this cohort. So yeah, I really feel strongly about those kinds of things, because I think those are the kinds of things some people can go into a workplace and not necessarily always see as much as they should. So I think it's really good for new people to be kind of learning how to incorporate those things early and often, and not have them be an afterthought.
Perfect. Yeah, I feel like this is it for us. I feel like we kind of were over time. But if you have any friends that couldn't come today, I mean, you can share this video. This video is going to be in YouTube, it's going to be in LinkedIn, so you can share it with everybody. But we are going to have another Q&A session happening this coming Monday, August 7 at 5 p.m. PST. So we are going to be here answering more questions, so bring more friends. We still have spots open for developers and product managers. Please bring them in. And I already shared the information from the program, so you're going to find a lot of the questions that you may have. But otherwise, our email is cherryontech@gmail.com. If you have any questions, I'm always on LinkedIn. So if you have any questions, just come and ask me. That's what we're here for. I don't know, Ali, what else? We close again. When do we close our registration?
Next Saturday, so that will be August 12th, I think. Yeah, so definitely please apply if you're interested. If you're not sure, encourage you to still apply and or reach out to us, because it's not gonna hurt to just try and see. If you're not sure if you're like a good fit, that's okay. We want to reach as many people as we can. So
yes, again, we will have another cohort next year for sure. Oh, okay, a question? No. Oh, 12. Okay, thank you, Amanda. You're just helping us with the dates. That's great. Okay, that's it for us. Maybe for people who is there, we're going to meet you in person, like online. We're going to have you in the cohort. We're so excited about that. This is Sally. I'm Juliet, and see you next Monday. Thank you, everybody. Thank
Thanks.
you. Have a
Bye.
Bye. Great.